somewhere where people can resell the products that they are not, or create exchanges or whatever, of course. I mean, such kind of avenues, So we're talking about, I think one of the key things that we should take out from here is sustainable consumption. Before you buy it, ask yourself, do I need it?
It's been really great talking today, but I know there's so much more to say on this topic. So please join the discussion on the BBC Africa social media platforms and keep the conversation going with the hashtag #TheSheWord. You can also watch this full episode and others on our website at bbc.com/sheword. Goodbye.
The newly appointed governor of the Irongo region, Neville Andre, is a young man who has taken on big problems that have probably persisted for longer than he's been alive. But the brother is out there doing the most for his constituency.
When I came into this position, it's a little over a year ago, in April last year, this region was already an epicenter. And I had now to deal with the region, which is the first epicenter of COVID-19 in the country. Also, the region that recorded the first community infection for COVID-19, and also the first fatality, related to COVID-19. So it was a region that also received the longest, or experienced the longest lockdown from all the other regions. Yeah, I can remember when I had to come and report for duty, I had to get a permit to come into the region. So it was a tough year, but we were mainly just focusing on COVID-19 and how to curb the spread of COVID-19. How we did that, it was a collaborative effort where we sort of pulled in all sectors. Private sector, public sector, and all the stakeholders, and that is how we managed to sort of address the situation, the issues, be it with the hospitalization, hospital facilities, and so on. It was a joint collaborative effort that made us come through out of this situation. Because other than the COVID-19, you had also the fishermen, ex-fishermen, that we also had to deal with, and then also it came the fire that broke out at Tualoloka. So these are the things that now were mainly part of our focus as a region. Yeah.
How effectively do you think you've dealt with Otoya and Tualoloka?
Yeah, the area where the fire broke out, of course, was Tualoloka. And then what then happened was that we had 153 shacks that burned down, and we sadly lost one baby in the fire. And all those people that, of course, it was not the whole area of Tualoloka that burned down. There were still some other shacks that remained, or houses that remained. So what then happened was that government came in and saw that there needs to be this situation is an emergency disaster. So the cabinet directed that this be addressed. Addressed as emergency situation, and came in to assist with the facilities like the tents, food, and also invited other stakeholders like Red Cross and also local people, companies and so on, to come on board and help alleviate the situation of the people now in Otoya, because they moved to the area, and also the houses that we built.
We met recently, and I was able to ask him about some of the issues that we had uncovered in his region that have featured on the show in recent weeks. In this week's episode of It's a Wrap, we feature an exclusive interview with the governor on the sluggish pace at which the Twaloloka or Toya residents are being housed in those little bondoks cabinet approved for them, the corruption that has been exposed in the allocation of those bondoks, and a response on the fact that those bondoks are yet to be electrified, amongst other issues. Check this out.
People, the assistance was, because first is that where they were in the Twaloloka, it's an area which they grabbed land, and of course people want land, they want housing, and unfortunately fire broke out, and that's what happened. And we then looked at how the government then came in to say how do they assist from the situation where they are to at least to give them shelter. A budget was put first to clear the area or to identify the area and put up services in that area, and also put up houses. Now, it was quite expensive, because first the servicing was quite long and also expensive to put in water and electricity into that area. And then also at the same time is that with the little funds that we received from government, we needed to see how do we include everybody into the houses. So it is first is that when you look at the houses, look at the earth size. The earth size is 300 square, each earth. And what then also is included in the earth is that there is already approved extension of 2 rooms onto that earth. So people want to extend, they need not to pay for, apply for an extension. They can just put up and then build the extension of it. But of course, and again, from the shack which was quite small to an land and a bit of, you have sanitation also that is put in there. They have their own toilet. They have the kitchen. They have, of course, that one bathroom. So it is at least that to be given, that is at least you are starting off with something that you did not have, they did not have, and they are assisted. What is being given is that they only paid for the connection of the water, the meter to their plot, and that is, I think, a gesture that, of course, it's what needs to be done by the leaders or services that needs to be given to our citizens, but it's better from coming from really a corrugated iron shed and so on. And without water, they did not have water, they didn't have sanitation and all this, but now they have that in their houses.
According to the SWAPO Manifesto of 1989, tea, anyone? Housing is one of the forms in which racial stratification of our society has found its most appalling expression. Discriminatory and racist practices remain firmly entrenched. Black workers in urban areas live in squalid conditions of labor compounds, single-quarter housing, and in segregated ghettos. The housing conditions of the overwhelming majority of rural blacks are equally appalling. The often corrupt administrations of the so-called second-tier authorities did nothing to improve the housing conditions for the masses. A SWAPO government will therefore make the provision of adequate housing as one of its top priorities.
Every Saturday at 7 p.m., you can stay true to Namibia sounds with the Valentine's True Music Sessions. Only on 99 FM. Stay tuned. Stay true. There's no wrong way. Valentine's. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18. Drink responsibly.
So, it's just the two of us. Can't beat this.
Beat this?
Oh, hey.
You can't beat the Champions League,
Europa League, La Liga, Serie A,
and the Premier League.
All 380 matches of it, with its own dedicated Super Sport channel, Maji.
Get a HD decoder, dish kit, and 1 month of DSTV compact for only 1,099 Namibian dollars.
Now, to my mind, when we talk of servicing land as an emergency response for fire victims to get housed, then surely the water and electricity situations are more sorted. This was not the case with Otoya houses. I put this to the newly elected governor, Neville Andre.
Yeah, you see, the issue is that government is providing the funds, and the procurement is done by the municipality. And what then happened is that first was that there was services put in place for the sewage and water. And then the electricity was not included. We then had to call the municipality in and said we need to put in electricity into those. Then with the exemption, we also applied to the Ministry of Finance to exempt the procurement process so that at least we can put the electricity services as soon as we can, which now, of course, municipality managed to get it, and they were supposed to have this already in May, but unfortunately we did not have that from the municipality, but fortunately now we have it, and they are in the process of putting up, and that is the only delay. But of course, just maybe to give you a background or a perspective in terms of the houses itself. Now, when, like I said, 153 houses were actually shacks burned down. Now, what then happened, and that is also some of the things that delayed the finalization of it, is that the 153, those are people that were registered when the fire broke out. And so what then happened was that that same night, names were recorded, and names were recognized and so on. And then we then had to say, okay, we need to put up 153 houses. But Standard Bank came on board and said we have the Buy a Brick project, which we are actually in collaboration with Sheikh Dollars Federation. If there are Sheikh Dollars Federation members, we can give these funds to build houses, because I think the agreement was of the Buy a Brick is that Sheikh Dollars Federation members. So we then approach Sheikh Dollars and say, okay, from the 153, victims, fire victims, how many of those can you identify Sheikh Dullah's Federation members? And they identified 53 out of the 32. Out of the 153, 32 were Sheikh Dullah's Federation members. So then it was then agreed that, okay, 32 houses will be funded by the Sheikh Dullahs, that funds from the Standard Bank, and 121 will then be funded by government.
According to the SWAPO Manifesto of 1989, it will set up a public housing sector to help provide appropriate and affordable shelters for all sections of the Namibian population. Such a public housing sector will be charged with the responsibility for a rapid expansion of housing construction activities in the country. Housing construction for the lower income groups will receive state subsidies. State support will also be given in the form of appropriate housing legislation, giving access to various forms of credit to enable individuals of land groups to build and improve their own houses. There will also be provision for building material loans and crash training programs for construction workers and artisans in order to ensure the successful implementation of the government's housing policy and programs.
So we finalized that. Some of the 32 houses were already built, which was just on the site where the old worker was. So they started putting in. I think that's also when the president handed over some of those houses. But then we continued with the 121 houses. So then when we completed with the 121 houses, and of course we also completed the 32 houses of Sheikh Dullahs. We constructed them all completed. We had to verify the houses with the list of people that are on the list of the people that are to benefit from the houses. And we, after our verification, we saw that there were some discrepancies, and those, of course, which is in such a situation, there's always here and there, you overlook and so on. And so we found out that 21 houses or 21 people were excluded from the beneficiaries to get houses. And these are now, for example, when the fire broke out, we counted the shacks, but we found out that in one shack there are 4 families, and you cannot build one house for 4 families. So we had now to add more houses so that we give a family a house. So those are the 21, and also some is that the person was locked down in another region and was not recorded. And then you also found out that one shack was rented out to somebody else, and this person or maybe bought the shack from another person. So there was those issues that we had to, after our verification, we had to iron out, and that's when we reconciled. We saw, okay, we need 21 more houses, and that is exactly now what I hope you were on the site. You see houses being constructed. That is now the additional 21 houses, and that is also what is delaying the finalization of the project. That's electricity services and the 21 houses that still need to be completed.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. See, finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly. Until one day, James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the perks of home ground advantage. Get home ground advantage when you get GoTV. For just $349, you can enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cup competitions this football season. GoTV. Love it.
We're about insightful conversations.
We're about business,
your startup and SME,
your entrepreneurial journey,
especially your hustle.
No. We are Afro content.
No, Afro excellence.
And purple culture.
We're more like culture. The crème du crème.
For your daily dose of ingenuity and insight,
flair and sophistication.
Catch us weekdays at 6 to 10 a.m.
Sivo and Mo in the morning. Dude, no. Must you be extra? Must we be extra? Ah!
The fact that most residents of Walfish Bay earn such meager salaries whilst the economy of the town is built on their backs is quite flabbergasting. People who have houses make big guap renting out rickety shacks to those who have to acquire temporary shelters to match their seasonal occupation based on the industry that they work in. I asked the governor how the SWAPO government plans to address this inequality.
Yeah, you see, it's two things. First is that surely especially with offers by a SWAPO note, you have everyday people coming in from all different regions coming in search of work, employment, because there's hope that they will come and get there. So, because the region is an economic hub, there's so many industries here and sectors, fishing, mining, logistics, tourism, it's taking place here. So people come every day to the region, and the pace at which we're supposed to reply or respond to the housing need is a bit slow. First is that Walvis Bay town itself, I think it's quite old. It was established for, let's say, about 30,000 people. Today you have about 110,000 in Walvis Bay alone. So first is that you have a challenge in terms of the space, Walvis Bay, and you have a challenge in terms of infrastructure currently. If you go there, every day there's a pipe, the sewage pipe burst, overflow and so on, because the infrastructure is very old. Now, number of years back, an extension was identified, Farm 37, and that is now to decongest people within the Walvis Bay proper area. And we are informed that the size of Farm 37 is about twice as big as Walvis Bay proper. Yeah, and that is towards between 7 and so on, about 7 kilometers outside the proper Walvis Bay. Now, the issue of providing houses should not really be seen as a function of government alone, and that's also what I always engage or speak to the other sectors. Like, for example, the people that are in sheds, these are people working for factories, and if one have to say that only government should come in and address, for example, in Walvis Bay, the backlog, the list of people that are that applied for houses, it's more than 19,000. Now that government will not be able to do it alone. In terms of pace, in terms of funds, it's just not possible. If we do it, it will take years to reach or to get into to reach that pace. And as I'm saying, every day people are coming and coming. So we are saying that factories, especially fishing companies, apply for land, especially there at Farm 37. Apply for land and build houses for your people, because these are the people that are in the sheds, in Quisapot. They come from the factories every morning, go to the shed. While you as the MD or the manager goes to Ludwigsdorp, Lagoon, Miesa, in nice, but what do you think when you would want this person to come in the morning and be productive?
According to the SWAPO Manifesto of 1989, local government at regional, district, municipality and village levels will be called upon to support self-help housing projects and technical services in the form of land survey, water supply, electricity and sanitation. The central government will make provision for the upgrading of the administrative, managerial and technical capacity of the local government authorities to enable them to carry out this task. The government will also mobilize and encourage privately owned construction companies to contribute to the housing program through an incentive package.